You're listening to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, created to help you succeed in your Security Plus certification journey. Learn more at baremetalcyber.com, where additional prepcasts, books, and training materials await. Let's get started. The mission of internal audit is to provide independent assurance over how well an organization is managing risk, designing controls, and ensuring operational effectiveness. Unlike management, which owns the execution of processes, internal audit evaluates whether those processes are reliable, sufficient, and aligned to governance expectations. For example, management may run patch management processes, but internal audit independently checks if those patches are applied consistently, on time, and according to policy. The goal is not to duplicate operational work, but to provide boards, executives, and regulators with confidence that risk is managed responsibly across the enterprise. Independence is essential to audit credibility, and reporting lines are a key safeguard. Best practice is for internal audit to report directly to the audit committee of the board or to a senior non-executive leader. This arrangement ensures that auditors can raise concerns without fear of management interference. For instance, if auditors uncover repeated access violations in IT, reporting to management alone could lead to pressure to soften findings. With a direct line to the board, auditors can present facts objectively. Independence in reporting is the foundation of trust in internal audit results. Audit team structures vary depending on organizational size and complexity. A centralized team keeps all auditors in a single department, promoting consistency and shared expertise. Distributed teams embed auditors in business units, providing proximity to operations but risking inconsistent approaches. Hybrid models combine centralized oversight with distributed execution, balancing consistency and local knowledge. For example, a global company might centralize its methodology and leadership, but deploy regional auditors within each geography. The choice of model depends on organizational culture, scale, and the need to balance standardization with business familiarity. Skill mix is another critical success factor. Internal audit requires more than traditional accounting or compliance backgrounds. A robust team should include technical auditors skilled in cybersecurity and IT systems, process auditors who understand workflows and controls, data analysts who can interrogate large datasets, and legal or compliance liaisons who interpret regulatory obligations. For example, reviewing a cloud migration project may require both a cloud security auditor and a legal liaison to assess cross-border compliance. By building multidisciplinary teams, internal audit can address modern complex risks that span technology, law, operations, and governance. Audit planning cycles are typically annual but must be flexible. Organizations develop annual risk-based plans by reviewing the Enterprise Risk Register, regulatory expectations, and past audit findings. High-risk areas such as data protection, vendor security, or financial reporting are prioritized. However, plans must also leave room for ad hoc or incident-driven audits. For instance, if a ransomware incident occurs mid-year, internal audit should pivot to review incident response controls. This balance between structured planning and responsiveness ensures audit remains aligned to strategic risks while adapting to emerging challenges. Resource planning is essential to ensure internal audit capacity matches organizational demands. Planning includes estimating how many engagements each auditor can complete per year, expected throughput, and whether specialized audits require co-sourcing with external experts. For example, an internal audit function with 10 auditors might plan for 25 audits annually, supplemented by external specialists for niche areas like cryptography. Without resource planning, audit functions risk overcommitting and under-delivering, eroding confidence in their effectiveness. Careful planning ensures realistic coverage and the ability to meet expectations. Audit charters and terms of reference formalize scope, authority, and deliverables. The charter states what the internal audit function does, who it reports to, and its rights to access information, people, and systems. For example, the charter might specify that audit has unrestricted access to systems and staff when performing reviews. Terms of reference for each audit engagement clarify objectives, scope, and deliverables. These documents protect audit independence, set boundaries, and prevent disputes about authority. Without a charter, auditors may face pushback when requesting sensitive information, undermining their mission. Integration with enterprise risk management, (ERM), ensures that audits are aligned with strategic risk priorities. If the ERM framework identifies vendor risk or data privacy as top concerns, internal audit should allocate time to evaluating controls in these areas. By aligning with ERM, audit provides assurance where the organization most needs it. For example, if risk registers highlight third-party dependency as critical, audit might review vendor onboarding and monitoring practices. Integration prevents audit from becoming a siloed function and ensures its work contributes to enterprise-wide risk governance. Coordination with other assurance providers is necessary to avoid duplication and audit fatigue. Compliance teams, SOC functions, and third-party auditors often assess overlapping areas. For example, both compliance and audit may review data protection practices. By coordinating, internal audit can rely on compliance testing results and focus on areas not already reviewed. This three lines of defense model ensures coverage without redundancy, saving effort for both auditors and auditees. Coordination strengthens overall assurance while reducing unnecessary disruption to operations. Quality assurance safeguards audit credibility and effectiveness. This includes peer reviews of working papers, external quality assessments every few years, and continuous professional development for auditors. For instance, peer reviews ensure findings are supported by sufficient evidence, while external assessments validate methodology against professional standards. Ongoing training in emerging areas, such as cloud security or data analytics, keeps auditors relevant in a changing environment. Without quality assurance, audit reports may lack rigor, and stakeholders may lose confidence in results. Quality discipline ensures internal audit evolves with organizational and regulatory demands. Audit reporting formats must communicate findings clearly to diverse audiences. Executive summaries should highlight major risks and overall assurance levels in concise language. Detailed sections should include findings, risk ratings, high, medium, low, and recommended actions. For example, a report may note, high-risk finding, lack of multi-factor authentication on administrative accounts. Recommendation: implement MFA within 90 days. Reports must balance accessibility for executives with detail for process owners. Clear, structured reporting ensures findings are understood, prioritized, and acted upon rather than ignored. A practical starter exercise demonstrates how to embed these principles. Draft a one-page internal audit charter for the security and audit team. Include its reporting line to the audit committee, its scope covering security, IT, and compliance controls, its cadence of annual risk-based audits with ad hoc capacity, and its escalation process for unresolved critical findings. This simple document provides clarity to stakeholders and empowers auditors with the authority they need. Even at a small scale, a charter sets expectations and aligns internal audit with governance best practices. By the end of Part 1, learners should see that internal audit structures require more than technical testing. They demand independence, clear charters, diverse skills, and integration with governance frameworks. With these foundations, Part 2 will explore the audit engagement lifecycle, the role of data analytics, remediation tracking, and how internal audit builds long-term credibility through follow-up and consistency. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. The audit engagement lifecycle follows a structured sequence: request, planning, fieldwork, reporting, and follow-up. It begins with a request or scheduled audit identified in the annual plan. Planning defines objectives, scope, and resource needs. Fieldwork is the evidence-gathering phase, involving document review, interviews, and testing. Reporting delivers findings, risk ratings, and recommendations to stakeholders. Finally, follow-up ensures that remediation actions are implemented and verified. For example, an audit of privileged access may start with scoping accounts, gather logs as evidence, report findings on access anomalies, and then validate that remediation closed the gaps. Lifecycle provides consistency and discipline. Data analytics increasingly enhances internal audits, making them more evidence-driven and efficient. Instead of testing a handful of samples, auditors can analyze full datasets using tools that scan logs, transactions, or system configurations for anomalies. For example, analytics might identify every instance where changes were made without approvals, not just a sample of cases. This approach improves accuracy, surfaces hidden patterns, and makes audits more impactful. It also reduces reliance on manual evidence collection. By embedding analytics, audit functions modernize their practice, leveraging data at scale to provide richer, faster assurance. Coordination with operations is critical to avoid business disruption during audits. Audit activities can burden teams if poorly timed, especially during peak business cycles. For example, auditing payroll controls during year-end processing may create undue strain. Coordination involves scheduling fieldwork when staff availability is sufficient and communicating expectations early. Clear planning helps teams prepare evidence in advance, reducing friction. When audit demonstrates respect for operational constraints, it strengthens collaboration and reduces resistance, ensuring audits are seen as supportive rather than adversarial. Confidentiality and privileged communication rules must be respected during audits. Sensitive findings, such as security gaps or compliance weaknesses, must be handled discreetly. Audit reports are often privileged documents, shared only with authorized recipients such as executives, boards, or regulators. For instance, revealing audit findings broadly without proper authorization could expose vulnerabilities to misuse or reputational harm. Maintaining confidentiality protects the organization and upholds trust between auditors and stakeholders. Clear rules on report distribution prevent accidental exposure of sensitive information. Remediation follow-up intervals must be defined to ensure findings are addressed promptly. High-severity issues may require retesting within 30 days, while lower priority items may allow 90 days or more. Escalation processes should apply if remediation is delayed, involving higher management or governance bodies. For example, unresolved findings on unencrypted sensitive data may escalate to the audit committee if not addressed within agreed timeframes. By enforcing timelines and escalation, audits drive timely action rather than allowing issues to linger. This discipline ensures audit outputs lead to real, measurable improvements. Measuring internal audit effectiveness requires key performance indicators, KPIs. Useful metrics include closure rates of findings, stakeholder satisfaction with audit value, cycle times for audit engagements, and coverage of high-risk areas. For example, an audit team might report that 85% of findings closed within target timelines, but only 60% of high-risk areas were covered due to resource limits. These KPIs highlight strengths and gaps, guiding continuous improvement. By reporting metrics, audit functions demonstrate accountability for their own performance, aligning with the same principles of measurement they apply to others. External experts are often required for niche technical audits, where specialized skills are necessary. Internal auditors may not have expertise in areas such as cloud architecture, cryptography, or industrial control systems. Bringing in external specialists ensures that audits remain credible and thorough. For example, a cloud migration project may require third-party experts to validate encryption and identity management controls. Co-sourcing arrangements allow organizations to blend internal oversight with external depth. Leveraging outside expertise demonstrates audit's adaptability and ensures stakeholders trust the rigor of findings. Standardization of audit processes ensures consistency across engagements. Templates for working papers, defined conclusion criteria, and standardized reporting formats reduce variability. For example, all audit reports may use the same risk rating scale and structure, ensuring findings are comparable across domains. Working paper standards also ensure evidence is documented consistently, enabling peer review and external validation. Standardization builds efficiency, reduces learning curves for new auditors, and strengthens audit credibility by demonstrating professional discipline. Audit remediation dashboards provide visual tools for governance and tracking. Dashboards display open findings, remediation deadlines, and progress toward closure. For instance, executives can see at a glance that 10 high-risk findings remain unresolved, with 3 overdue. Dashboards increase transparency and accountability, ensuring remediation is visible at the highest levels. They also help audit teams prioritize follow-ups and direct attention to areas of persistent weakness. Dashboards transform audit results from static reports into dynamic tools for ongoing governance. Heat map risk-based audits are a valuable method for ensuring coverage of the highest risk areas. Heat maps plot risks based on likelihood and impact, highlighting areas requiring urgent attention. Internal audit can then design cycles to address these zones first, ensuring resources align with enterprise priorities. For example, a heat map may reveal vendor risk and data protection as top concerns, prompting focused audits in those areas. By visually linking audit activity to risk severity, heat maps make planning transparent and defensible, aligning audit with board-level oversight. Succession planning and knowledge transfer are vital to prevent dependency on individual auditors with niche expertise. Without planning, the departure of one auditor could leave gaps in areas like SAP security or network architecture. Succession planning involves documenting methodologies, cross-training team members, and building repeatable processes. Knowledge transfer ensures that insights from audits are retained, not lost with individuals. By institutionalizing knowledge, internal audit builds resilience, ensuring continuity and consistency regardless of staff turnover. A credible internal audit function combines independence, technical skill, clear charters, and disciplined follow-up. It operates with structured life cycles, leverages analytics for evidence, and balances confidentiality with transparency. It uses dashboards, KPIs, and heat maps to align with risk priorities and ensures findings are remediated promptly. A practical step is to draft an audit charter and schedule the first engagement, ensuring scope, evidence, and reporting are clear from the outset. Over time, this discipline builds trust and positions internal audit as a vital pillar of governance and compliance. Thanks for tuning in to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, your trusted source for cybersecurity news and insights. Remember to subscribe at baremetalcyber.com so you never miss an update. And visit cyberauthor.me for best-selling cybersecurity books that equip you with expert knowledge. Until next time, stay secure and stay vigilant.